There are 7.99 billion people in the world right now. And for each person, 96% of their efforts towards personal development fail because they never created a habit to work towards their mindset. And a habit becomes easier if you make it easier to access. So by hitting the subscribe button, you'll not only be creating a habit to think better, perform on a higher level, and be more confident, it'll also mean the world to me by helping us make more valuable and life-changing content for the world. Hit the subscribe button.
You put me on this platform to tell the truth. You speak to me when I be speaking to the youth.
Every transaction you do with money is a spiritual transaction. Because, and that's why we still pay tithes. And that's why like the Bible asks us to pay a tithe. The tithe is not for God to like, because God need money, because the Bible says the earth and its fullness belongs to him. He says the hearts of the kings is in his hand. Like he could stir the hearts at any time. But it's money in the society represent life. Like in order for the average person, not like somebody like myself now. And even though I still put time when I'm consulting, but like the average person, they trade in their time for money. So really in this society, money is equivalent to life because you're getting paid $20 an hour. So that means 20 hours, $20, an hour of your life at that job represent $20. So God is not looking at it as a, from the money aspect. He's looking at it like, yo, you're sacrificing your life to me. You're giving your life to me every time you tithe. Now, to tie it back to what I was saying, in this aspect, whenever you sow, whenever you pay for something, sowing, meaning you're giving, whether you're giving it for free as a donation or you're paying for something, you release something from yourself spiritually. Now, this is spiritual talk. I can't talk to my carnal clients because if they don't believe in God and all that stuff, there's other ways I could get them. But every time money comes and you're exchanging money, there's a spiritual release that happens. Now, hold on. You see when someone pay you, if you pay me to consult you, because now you're sowing into me. Now there's a spiritual transaction that happened. We have a tie. Like there's a connection.
Yeah.
Now I tell certain clients, and that's why some things is better to pay for it than to get it free. Because when you pay for it, you're looking at it, you're just doing a money transaction. But when you pay for it, sometimes like, it's a spiritual transaction. Like, that's why the Bible talks about sowing to like, leaders and stuff like that. Because when you sow into a leader, you're sowing into the anointing that's on their life. Now, we're talking spiritual. When you sow into the person, whatever grace, whatever anointing that upon their life, you receive it. I knew I was going to be a speaker. You know what I went around and did?
Sold to speakers.
I sold into speakers. I knew I wanted to invest in real estate. You know what I did?
You know that's crazy?
I invested into people who's in real estate.
You know that's crazy? My spiritual father said something like that because he said he wanted to get better at worshiping God and things of that nature. He sold into different worship leaders.
Whatever you want. It's as simple as if you want to learn how to cook, sow into the people who cook.
So how do you go about sowing into people to tap into their anointing? Is it only money? Is it time? Can it be different things?
That's a good question because and when you see what life and principles is always different. How can I say it? Because I can just give you that principle, so and you get, and you'll do it and be like, yo, it didn't work.
Yeah.
But there's always, how can they say it? Like, there's always things behind it. For example, not to go too technical, but having a pure heart about it. Like, if your heart's not right, you can sow into me all you want. Whatever anointing I carry, it's not going to work.
I remember last time we had talked about sowing and things of that nature. You mentioned that there was different. You mentioned the money code book, and you mentioned that there were different levels of sowing. Where if you sow and you don't feel like sowing, if you sow and you have
but you see, that was just for money. So the money code, which is a good book. The Jewish. Everybody's like, yo, the Jewish are always prosperous wherever they go. Yeah. Now, they always say they always have good jobs, but in the book, it talks about the 7 things that, like, why the Jewish people are, like, wealthy. No, 8 things, if I'm not mistaken.
In the money code?
In the money code.
Gotcha.
One of them is they don't believe in doing certain jobs. That's why you're not gonna see, you don't see Jewish people working at Walmart. They don't believe in doing like petty jobs. They don't. If they're gonna do a petty job, they own it. So if you're gonna see a Jewish person cut your grass, they're not working for the grass company. They own the grass company. So it's not that they don't do petty jobs.
That's fine.
They don't work at doing petty jobs.
Yeah.
They own petty jobs though.
Yeah.
Now, if they're gonna work for someone, it's gonna be a top job, like they work for a hospital or work for a law firm. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So the petty jobs, they own them. And if they're gonna work for someone, it gotta be for like a huge entity.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was one of the things, that's why they're prosperous. But one of the major things in the book, and I knew this before, was their giving. But then the book explained there's 8 ways to give. No, 7 ways to give, sorry. And I used to be like, damn, I didn't even know that. Like, bro, you think like there's just one way to give. And like, cause you'll hear it's better to give than it is to receive.
Yeah.
And you'd be like, man, I give a lot. What's going on? But then you realize like you're doing something, you have the right idea, but you're just missing something. You're giving, like, look how they know there's 8 ways to give. And in the book, it talks about there's 7 different ways to give. But you know it's good to give, but you didn't know that it was like the different ways to give. And they are purposely, like, when they're giving, they purposely
Giving that way, or
giving in those 7 different ways.
so do you think that's a problem people in our culture have, where they call somebody else selfish because they expect them to give out of one of those 7 ways? Because many times people like experiencing like getting vulnerable and transparent. Many times people call me selfish sometimes, and they say, I don't give, and they expect it to be monetarily, but I myself, I give in time. I myself, I give in all these other things.
But it doesn't matter how you give. There's I think there was a book called The Giver. And that's why it's good to read, bro. Like, because then you just ahead of people. And not only you're ahead of people, but you see how society works. I think it was the book The Giver, if I'm not mistaken, that tells you like, no matter how much you give, people will never think it's enough.
Damn.
Yeah. So when you're, bro,
You give $1 million. Wow.
You know
that hits home.
I'm gonna tell you something.
That hits home, man.
My own family. Like, of course, my family has done a lot for me before I could have took care of myself. Bro, even now, today, bro, thousands of dollars every month. To my mom, sisters, every month. And then, bro, something will come up. No, I can't do it right now. Man, you never have it. I'm giving you about $3,000 a month. No, just here, $3,000 a month, y'all. But when something extra come up, nah, I can't do it right now. So, you only care about people outside.
So I was talking to somebody and speak on that same situation that you just had, where you say no to somebody for the first time, and they use that no to determine or view their relationship with you through that lens only. Oh, he only said no. I'm gonna look at him like he always said no for the past.
Yeah. Let's say it's back to humans. Humans, another great book, The Selfish Gene. The Selfish Gene talk to you about my favorite subject to study is the human. Because if I go back to school, I always tell people I'll study sociology because I'm fascinated by the human.
Just like in how they think, how
we
in general
think and operate.
Isn't that?
Because
I
we have
thought that was
so much-
psychology.
Psychology is more of the mind, how the mind works. Sociology is how we work amongst each other.
Got you.
So both is kind of I thought about doing psychology, but then when I looked into psychology majors, I'm like, but sociology is more interesting. You could do a lot more with sociology. Like with sociology degree, you could work for Facebook because Facebook want to know how we interact. Psychology, consumer psychology is another big thing when it comes to marketing, which I studied as well. But
What was the name of that book that you had mentioned?
The Selfish Gene.
The Selfish Gene.
And I mentioned that because we have this innate, when you understand a person from the makeup of how we were built, there's a lot of trait that's in us that's habitual traits. And if you don't work on them, you'll just become like the normal person. There's a reason why like the average people are the average people, because they're operating off their habitual trait. So they never fought against either their chemical makeup or habitual traits. Meaning like, okay, I don't want to get too deep into that, but
I mean,
going back to the selfish gene, like we have a lot of that book. It really talks about how like, you know, we look a lot of times the majority look for themselves, and in looking for themselves, it was a way to protect ourselves. You know, going back years ago, we were very defensive. We had to make sure our family ate. We had to make sure that we were good before anyone else was good. So as time evolved and we didn't have to, let's just say, worry about like that one pig that was running around and we all needed to eat from that pig, now we still kept some of those traits. Like as if we're in a wild jungle fighting for one pig. So, and those traits keep us from a lot of blessing, which is the whole understanding it is better to give than it is to receive. Because a lot of people feel like, dang, when I give, like something is being taken away from me. Why? Because in that moment, something's not being added. Now,
so that book was teaching you how not to be selfish.
It teaches you how people, it goes more complex into the mind of how people are selfish and why people are selfish.
Gotcha.
But then it tells you about like the disadvantages.
Oh, so but it talks about the advantages too, or just the disadvantages?
No, the advantages came from before. Why it was good to be like, selfish.
Yeah.
But now in today's society, it doesn't work.
You wanna know what's crazy? When you said that book, I thought it was gonna get into the advantages of being selfish. So that tells you a little bit of how much I need to work on my mind in that aspect too.
It debunked the idea of keeping more for yourself is a good thing. Like a lot of us think that. Like, I'll tell you this. In my loaning business, outside of my personal money, any investor I have in my loaning business, I give them 70%. And I keep 30%. And they do no work. And at first, I did that in the beginning because I was trying to build it up. But then I was like, once I finish building this business, I'm gonna change it up on them. But then as I started learning, I was like, no, don't do that. Like, make them receive more. Like more than you. But as they received more than me, mind you, the company just kept growing. Because why? They're pleased, and then more people want to get in. So as more people are getting in, and no one is leaving, so the companies just keep growing.
Yeah, your churn rate is like very low.
Like it's like people are happy with me, and it's crazy. Now, like I tell you, people around me that know when it's my birthday, it's like a celebration. I get $500, $1,000. I get whatever most gifts that I want, and that's because people are pleased and they're happy, and they feel like I'm giving them more than they deserve.
So, do you feel as if because we're too selfish, it stops people from becoming leaders?
Yes. Well, I can say the heart of leadership, like one person by the grace of God met in person, John C. Maxwell. He's a goat of leadership in today's age. Read most of his book, but this year is the first year I got to meet him in person and everything. Leadership is all about sacrifice. A lot of people want to be leaders, but I've come to find out the best leaders are the people that didn't want to be leaders. I've came to find that out. Like people who be like, I'm going to set up this cause and I'm going to lead. I want to be the leader of these people. Leadership, if you're going into leadership wanting to be a leader, there's a flaw there. Because the motive of wanting to be a leader is self-sufficient. You want to feel that urge of being a leader. But a lot of time, like by the grace of God, I've done some leadership myself and I'm doing more. Every time people pointed me out as a leader, I didn't go into the thing like, yo, I want to be a leader of this. Like, I remember in high school, we had a huge group. I loved buying Jordans. I think I bought, my last year of school, I bought 100 and I think last time I have the pictures on Facebook. For people, I bought 107 pairs of shoes in one school year, Jordans and Nikes and things like that. I started a movement of like, yo, not wearing the same shoes twice during, yeah. And when I started that, like, I didn't say like, yo, I'm gonna be a leader, be the freshest person in my school or in my district. I just love fashion and I love shoes, and my parents' business was doing very well. So I just started buying 2-3 pairs of shoes a week. And then that made so many people started following us to the point they even named the group that I was in charge of, and I didn't even know that. We started a group called SC Shoe Crew. And then they was like, yo, you're the leader, man. Like, you started. But I was not doing it because I wanted people to follow me. I did something that I was passionate about, like, that at that time. And even now, with the whole Mr. Knowles organization, the nonprofit I started feeding the homeless. I started going to schools and teaching kids financial literacy. Not because I'm like, yo, I wanted to be a leader of something. It was because that was my passion.
Okay, yeah, that was gonna be my next question, because I was like, what about for those people who have that desire to want to help people because they have that much empathy for them?
Okay, if you have the passion, that's fine. But I was saying, if you just want to be a leader, because there are people that I knew a guy, me and him butt heads a few times because he not directly, close friends of mine, he'll be like, yo, why do you guys follow this guy? Like, why are you guys always around this guy? Like, you guys.
To you?
To my friends. To my friends.
But he was mentioning like towards you.
He mentioned me.
Wow.
And you know some of my friends. And
yeah.
Yeah. He would be like, man, like, you guys think this guy's smart? Like why everybody like always gravitate towards this guy? But it's because his main motive, he wanted to be a leader. So he did everything he can to be a leader. When you're a leader, your focus is not on being a leader.
Your focus is trying to help them get to a goal.
It's on what you said, that passion that you have.
Helping them get to like a goal or something like that.
If your passion is to feed the homeless, you're going to be passionate on feeding the homeless.
Yeah.
And that will bring people to you. Not, let me bring people to me, then to feed the homeless.
So
some people are more obsessed with being a leader than the mission and the passion itself.
So, wow, that's intriguing, because like, how about for the people that, like you mentioned, the goal is feeding the homeless, right?
Well, I have a lot of goals.
I'm just using like one of the goals is like feeding the homeless. What if your goal is to like, you're passionate about getting this group because you like, or molding this group because you see the potential within the group? Would that be like self-centered in a way,
so bad,
or?
But whatever you're trying to get that group to do, you must already be doing it. You must already be passionate about it. Like, if you want a group to feed the homeless, you need to already be on fire feeding the homeless. If you need a group to, like, I don't know, save the wells, you need to be on fire about saving the wells. Because then, when you try to get the group before you start doing, there's nothing to ignite or motivate or to inspire the group.
Yeah, because
people need inspiration. People need stuff to pull them in. Yes, if they like your close friends, they'll be like, yeah, I'm gonna do it with you, bro, but that won't last. What keeps the momentum is the work you're doing towards that thing.
I read in one of the John C. Maxwell's book, I'm reading one of them, the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. It mentioned credibility as one of it.
Yeah.
So you're saying that you have to have that type of credibility and already doing that thing to inspire them to want to follow you in that sense.
Yeah, and credibility goes deeper than that thing. So credibility is based on the person you are. Because it's good you mention that, because you, for example, whatever you want to do, you could already be doing it.
Yeah.
But if your character, and that's a word he mentions a lot.
Yeah, in that book.
If your character's not aligned, like, yeah, you're feeding the homeless, but if you're a jerk, like, no one's gonna want to follow you or be a part of what you're doing, even though you have a good cause. So the credibility start with you, of who you are, which is your character. One of the things that helped me I'm very like one of the verses that I keep in mind is like, you know, a good name is better than silver and gold. And I'm paraphrasing what the Bible says in Proverbs. Like, and a lot of people, there's a lot of verse people don't understand until you lived it. If you're somebody that have no money, no connection, you must be, oh my God, like with all your heart, all your strength, you need to focus on building your name, meaning having a good reputation. That means one, doing the right things, two, protecting your name. Because sometimes, you know, people are going to say things about you that's to dirty your name, to mess up your character. Don't take those things lightly. Like slander is something you shouldn't take lightly.
It's funny you say this because I was watching this podcast on Instagram, and it said when you're at a certain level of life where you reach saint status, which is hard to reach saint status, where you have so much people following you, so much people backing you, that if cancel culture tries to step in and cancel you, because you're in saint status, it will negate any of them trying to cancel you. Like, you know how, like, just in retrospect, remember the artist, the baby, said that one thing, he got canceled, his career fell down.
Yeah.
Joe Rogan, people were trying to cancel Joe Rogan, but because UFC, all these other brands that he was affiliated with was backing him, it pretty much caused them to negate everything, any rumor anybody was trying to say about him.
Yeah. Yeah. No. I definitely that goes character again, like, but that's more community. Like,
I mean, but stepping into leadership, isn't that all part of the same thing?
Yes, leadership help you build community. But that whole cancel culture, people who get canceled are people who don't have a strong community. Because it's like my family. I make a mistake, my family don't want to deal with me no more. It's easier to cancel someone when you're not attached to them. When you're not attached to them, you could easily disconnect. Wait, can I answer the call quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yo. Hey, my bad, bro. We're in the middle of the podcast. What's up? No, you're good. No, you could come in. I have somebody meeting. You could tell him to let him in?
Yeah. Is he outside right now?
Yeah.
Got you. Let me go grab.
Yeah. You already parked? Okay, he's coming to get you. Yeah, thank you. What's up, bro? We just dropping some gems real quick.
Definitely. So, hold up.
But yeah, so with the whole cancel culture, you can only be canceled when you don't have a community. You see, like you mentioned the baby, he got canceled because like...
Yeah, he has said those things on stage, yeah.
That's what's wrong with a lot of influencers and a lot of like artists. Like, they focus so much on the craft, but they really like. At the end of the day, when you look at the Michael Jackson and the people who's done it well, they didn't just like, they were not just good singers. They had like, look at Beyonce. Like, she's one person. Yeah. Beyonce could go 10 years without making music. She come back, everybody go nuts. Yeah. Why? She has a community. She don't just have fans. Like, for so long, like, the artists focus on fans. Fans are things of the 90s. Now you can't just have a fan. You need a community. Why? Because a fan, today they could be a fan, tomorrow they're not your fan. Sure. But when someone's in your community, it's like a family. Yeah. A fan, if I do something wrong to you, screw you. I'll never listen to you again. A community is like you're part of a family. I do something to you, when you're part of a family, you don't just run away. Yeah, because it's funny you say that, because staying on artists, it's like Kanye. Kanye went spiritual and he wanted to focus on God now. Yeah. Things like he acquired so much fans that was Christians because they gravitated to like and that type of music. Is transferred with him. Yes, but this is why I say this from what you were saying, because I've heard in my church that he said he was gonna drop Christianity and go somewhere else. Mm-hmm. When people heard that, they stopped following him instantly because they weren't part of his community. They were only fans because he switched over into something that was similar.
So staying on creating a community, being a leader, and things of that nature. When we were talking one-on-one, you mentioned a lot of ways, like not looking at the loss from the John C. Maxwell book. You mentioned a lot of things that people can do to be a better leader. What would you say some of those things are to when they see their community is coming, when they are about to become a Beyonce, or other people that are starting to have a community? What are some ways people can get up to that, or even go from there to the next level?
Yeah. One thing I want to mention: everyone is a leader in their way, in some way. Mm. As a brother, you're a leader if you have younger siblings. As a uncle, as a everyone, most people are a leader. Mm. At your job, if you're the manager, if you're an assistant, you're a leader. Mm. In most cases, whether it's at your church, whatever, like you're in a group, most cases we're leaders. The problem is we don't have a lot of leadership training. Now, we know about John C. Maxwell, which is good, but like a lot of us heard of his book, but how many of us really understand like the things he put in those books, right? Yeah. So I'll say leadership start with self. I remember I heard there was like the hardest person to lead is who?
Yourself.
Your
mind, you're going against your habitual.
Yeah. By the grace of God, I've led. Now, a lot of everybody don't know me, but I've led hundreds of people. And I've led people to make good decisions, and I've led people to make bad decisions. And I'm humble enough to say that. And the reason I'm humble enough to say that, because I didn't view myself as a leader at a point of time. So because I didn't view myself as a leader, I didn't care what I advised. Mm. And this was years back. I can say this is probably like 2010, 2011, and I was still very young. Like, my friend would be like, yo, you think I should do that? I'm like, bro, go ahead, man. But that same decision ended up messing him up, like destroying his credit. Even though I didn't force him to do it, he just asked me, yo, you think I should do this? I was like, yeah, bro, go ahead, man. You living your life, you young, do it. And he went and did it. Mm. And I say that's all I had to do with leadership. Because when you advise somebody something and they listen, like, they see something in you. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. Because they're not just going to anybody asking.
Yeah, they see you as some point of wisdom.
But when you don't see yourself as a leader, you don't see the impact of what you tell people. Like, the fact that I told him to just go do what he did and he actually listened, I thought he was just saying, randomly asking me my opinion. But now, ever since, that was one moment that really taught me a lot. Like, yo, be very careful what you advise people. And before advising people, take time and think of what you're advising them to do. So that's why I'm going back to leadership starts with you. How you view yourself is everything. Before I was leading hundreds of people, whether on the financial aspect or whatever I'm doing now, I had to make the transition and be like, yo, I am a leader. Because however you see yourself is how you carry yourself. Mm-hmm. So that's the first step. It begins with the I. And the first decision is seeing yourself as a leader even before you have the traits. And then after that,
I like that,
is understanding, okay, before you start leading people for real, at the end of the day, since leadership is you have to work on your character. Because character is everything. Because at the end of the day, leadership is basically, it's who you are, but you're just communicating it with other people. So if you have a terrible character, if you're a thief, you're a liar, you're never on time, you will replicate, a leader cannot replicate what he's not.
Yeah.
That's what a leader is. Yeah. You're trying to replicate who you are in multiple people. Wow. So if you can't tell me, okay, man, I want to help people change their life and being more wholesome, being more ethical, but you're the same one stealing. At the end of the day, you could, and one of the things the Bible says with the Pharisees, it says, do what they say, but not what they do. Because a lot of people, they'll tell you the right thing to do, but they're not doing it. But here's a problem with that. Like I was telling, the camera don't see him, but earlier what we was talking about, the whole idea of understanding that every single person and every single thing on earth is made from atoms, and every atom vibrate, whether it's a solid like the ground or air that you can't see. Everything is composed of atoms. And when you study science, every atom, whether it's solid or whether it's loose, it vibrates.
Yeah.
So saying that, as a leader, when you're telling the people that you're leading the right things, but you're not living it, your words have no substance. So because of the vibration you carry, me and you can say the same thing, but it don't have the same effect.
That's
Sometimes you're talking, we get mad at people. Oh, you hard-headed. I'm always telling you, dog, do this. You don't listen. You know why? Let the next person come in and speak to them. You see a change instantly. Why? There's substance behind what they say.
I feel like that's like putting what you just said into context. I even seen it in my own life where my parents were trying to tell me certain things. I didn't do it. But it wasn't until I met you and you kind of became my mentor in that type of way. When you told me these things, it resonated differently because I seen you live these things. I seen you actually.
But you may not even have to see it. Bro, we are spiritual beings. Like, when we die, our soul goes. And then this is just a body that did, like, just go right back to the dirt. Like, we're communicating right now, not because you're hearing my voice. Like, there's an energy that's flowing between us. There's a synergy that's going back and forth, and that's why we could sit here and not tear each other's head apart. So, no, for real. And that is the most important part. Like, people think they could fool people. And yeah, you could fool people that, that their eyes are closed. And I don't want to go too deep into that. But about the whole, I'm not into the whole third eye, but some of those stuff, like, those things do exist. Like the third eye is just talking about the Holy Spirit. But, other religions use different words for different things. The third eye is basically your intuition, your Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
So, but certain people, whether you want to call it the third eye or their spirit, they're not in tune with it. Why? The United States of America is full of distraction that don't allow you to be in tune. But certain people that are in tune, it's rare that you can they'll laugh with you, but they'll know what's going on because they are in tune.
So does somebody have to work to find their own way to get in tune, or is there something that you can say to people so they can kind of recalibrate themselves to being in tune with their spirit or that for themselves?
That's a very tough topic because, like I said, a lot of religions and a lot of practice, it's all the same thing, but just jumbled up.
What do you mean jumbled up?
Like, Christianity have a way of doing things.
Yeah.
Buddhism have a way of doing things.
Yeah.
And so forth and so on. Like, if you read a little bit about the Quran and these different books, they're very similar.
Have you read the Quran?
I've read a little bit. Now, I don't own a Quran, but I've had friends who that's what they practice.
Yeah.
And we have conversations on these topics. And it's very similar things, very similar practices and things. Most of the time, the only real difference is who's the God. Like, some people believe it's Jesus. Some people believe Jesus was just a prophet. Some people don't believe in Jesus was a prophet. Like, he's just that. But outside of that, I want to say, because you say, what was the question again?
How can somebody recalibrate themselves to be able to be in tune with their spirit or whatever that thing is for them?
Was because, like, different people will tell you they try different things to find their calibration.
Okay.
To get to that point where it's like, yo, I'm
back.
Only thing I'll say is like, okay, yes, there's different roads to getting to a place, but each roads have different consequence.
What do you mean different consequences? Like, give one example of going down the road and the consequence and the benefit.
Practical. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's say, I don't know, we're headed to a destination.
Yeah.
One road may be very rocky.
Mm-hmm.
One road may be smooth sailing.
Yeah.
One road, at the end of the road, something's waiting for you.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, the road is smooth, but once you get at the end, something's waiting. You're gonna fall off the cliff.
It's like
it's like life give you many destinations that seem like it gives you the same results because we're all going to the same place. But a lot of times these roads come with unexpected things. And that's why I look at religion. I don't too much go into religion because yes, a lot of people say, man, I found peace with Buddha. I found peace with this. I found peace with that. But a lot of time when you don't really understand the spirituality behind of what you do, like a lot of people nowadays, like, they use the sage and all that stuff.
Or crystals, whatever the case may be, yeah.
Yeah, it makes you more peaceful. Yeah, but if you look, it's a road you're going down, but you don't know the end result of that road. And to know the end result of that road, a lot of times listen to the people that, that's been through it, that came before you. Because you could be going down the road and getting the same result as me and thinking like, yo, bro, what I'm doing is fine. But then it's because you haven't reached that thing yet. Yeah. You get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Because I'm not trying to go too, like, be all open.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, you got to be, like, very careful.
So what is...
But go on, I didn't answer you because I want to go answer your question. So becoming that, not just one with yourself, being enlightened. I think that's the word people like to say, being enlightened is like...
I wouldn't say it's enlightened, but people kind of call it like their flow state where they know it's not easy and you endure the tough times, but you kind of enjoy and endure the process and you move forward in a consistent fashion where you're not demeaning yourself, you're not condemning yourself, you're not feeling too down. Like,
it's so many names for it.
What are some of the things that you can be able to find that kind of equilibrium? I feel like that's like the best word.
Okay, I can't give you what I don't have or what I don't know. I found it through Christianity. Now, I don't believe really in religion. I don't believe God came to create religion. Yeah. And that's probably something you've heard.
Yeah.
Because it was supposed to be a relationship.
Yeah.
How you pray is probably not how I pray.
Yeah.
How you read the word is probably not how I read the word.
Yeah.
Like, people may take this funny as it is. I could be driving, I could see a tree, and I just start hearing things about life based on that tree. That's a lot of times that's how I do my devotion. People do devotion in the morning when they read. I don't tend to do my devotion like that. My devotion will start, let's just say I'm randomly at the beach or I love nature, by the way. I'll try to like be around nature. Just being around it, I'll just start hearing like it'd be the weirdest things. Even a cloud. Sometimes I'll hear, now, like I said, some people might think it's crazy, but that's why I say it's a relationship. Like, yes, we have a similar manual, but understanding like with that similar manual, we all have different programming. Yeah. Like the world wants us to make it seem like we all have the same program. No, you're not. There would be no reason to create so many of us. How come all of us are so unique with unique voices and unique faces? Like, yes, there's a manual, but different programming. Like, that's what people have to understand. So when I say, okay, with me, how I found my, whatever you want to call it, how I was in tune with myself, how can you get to know yourself if you don't know who created you? Yeah. Like, that don't make sense. Like, you have to know what created you. And that's why I really believe there is a God. Because everything on earth has a creator. Like the trees, everything was created by something. So in order to understand your origin, you must know who created you. Like even us on earth. To really know yourself well, you gotta know what family you come from. Yeah. Because if you know the family you come from, you'll know, am I short? What type of hair I have? Like, what, even your talents could be determined like, by the family you come from.
Really? So how can somebody go about finding that? Like,
finding what?
Finding their talents. Like, yeah, you can ask your parents and things of that nature, but what if you don't have that?
I'm going to get to that, but I want to still answer that first question because it's a long answer. But finding that in tune with myself, like I said, it came from Christianity because I stopped depending on myself. I stopped depending on the programming that I thought that, okay, I was supposed to just be this way. And then it's through diving into like the word. Like I said, I'm not like a biblical scholar. Like I'm honest. I don't spend my whole day in the word, but it's through like listening to the word consistently, whether in church or whether through devotions or me reading or whatever it is to get the word inside. There's many ways you can consume the word, through songs and all type of stuff. It really taught me that who I was. And there are rules in there of things you should not do, things you should do. Now, most people, they'll tell you, thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt, the 10 commandments. But do you know how many things that are a sin that messes up with who you are? For example, in Deuteronomy, the Bible talks about, do you know every time you complain, you activate a curse?
Jesus.
Just put on Google, is complaining a curse? And then put Bible verse. There's many times the Bible says, do not complain. And it tells you when you complain, you invoke a curse. So we focus on like the broad things of like do not kill, do not steal, do not fornicate.
Yeah, all these things.
Yeah, those things are good.
Yeah.
Those are the major things. Well, you're not even doing those things every day.
Yeah.
There are things that the Bible talks about that we do not do every day. Gluttony. Some of us, we eat way more than we need to, but we do that almost every day. Same thing, complaining is one. The Bible says, think of things that are pure, righteous, holy. So the Bible, there's a verse that talks about how to think. And when you don't think of those things, you're sinning. And that's why earlier...
Say that again?
The Bible talks about the thoughts you're supposed to have.
Okay.
If it's not pure, if it's not holy, if it's not righteous, if it's not edifying, you should not... Any thoughts that don't fall, and it's a verse, it lists any thoughts that don't align, basically any thoughts that's not good, you're sinning. If right now in your head you're like, dang, today's gonna be a bad day, you just sin. Now, if I keep going on, you'll be like, dang, that means, man, that's why we are all sinners. Like people be pointing at people like in adultery and every day people are sinning because there's so many things. But to tie into the point I was trying to make, there are a few things, there's a reason why the Bible says don't do it. Because it knocks your chakras off. And I know I just used the word that Christians probably don't like, chakra, but it mess with your spirit. Negative thoughts mess with your spirit. Thinking negatively. Not only it mess with your spirit, if those who are very scientific or all that, if that's even a word, look what a negative thought do to you. If you spend about 15 to 30 minutes thinking negatively, it does something to your body. It causes your body to release free radicals. What are free radicals? Free radicals are just like it's things that damage your cell. So as they damage your cell, it causes cancer. So most people who have cancer, there's really number one thing that causes cancer. Outside of food, stress. Stressing about bills, stressing about kids. So as you stress and you're thinking negative, your body's releasing free radicals. As your body's releasing free radicals, it's attaching to your cells, and then those cells mutate into cancer cells, which they can't stop growing. And then they tell you it's breasts, it's this, it's that. But like the focus is not about your breasts, so if it's your brain cancer, it's the free radicals. Your thought is your driving force. Your thought is, like I said, based on the atom, your vibration that you give off. So to wrap up that question, if you do want to like harmonize and one of the things you need to do is like, it starts off with your mind. Like, as a man thinketh, so is he.
Yeah.
Like, that didn't come from, what's the book? Think and Grow Rich. That's a Bible verse. People, we read these books and we think it's these people that's a Bible verse. He just took it.
Yeah.
As man thinketh, so is he. Like, most sickness comes from thoughts. Outside of thoughts is food, because food do play a big role into sickness. So even your chakra, and like I said, I know a lot of people don't like that word, but chakra, or who you are as a person, even your mind, being able to see and feel and tap into like your higher self, it starts with your mind and your food.
Got you. So I want to ask you this question because you mentioned it earlier with habituation, and I feel like it kind of ties with what you were just saying on how people can find their equilibrium or be in tune within themselves. Because many times people want to work on their mindset, want to work on this, but they've ingrained so much bad in them, whether checking social media all day and that's all you see, or it's even things that wasn't really your fault because your parents raised you up a certain way, you was exposed to certain things, and it was just a product of your environment or who raised you. How can somebody go against those things? Like right now, one of the things that I learned is learning boundaries, setting boundaries with myself. But I see it's still a fight because I see how much of a habit I made checking social media while I'm driving. So even though one of my boundaries is to not pick it up while I'm driving, I find myself, boom, Instagram open and I'm in the middle of it's like, how can somebody go against these things within their mind or kind of help them stay more consistent in following the boundaries that they set for themselves?
Good question. Like last night I had a conversation with now my wife.
Hey man, congratulations if you say congratulations.
I told her the biggest thing, because we was discussing habits.
Yeah.
A lot of times people want to change habits. So they just try to like start the new habit. But in my learning and my studying of the brain, one of the best things you do when you want to make change, the first step is not to learn a new thing.
It's not to learn a new thing?
Yeah.
Wow.
The first thing to do is to unlearn.
So what is the process in unlearning? Like if I'm driving and I'm listening to social media or watching social media, how can I unlearn that?
Okay. And you see, with life, everything leads to the next. To know how to unlearn, you must know how do we learn. You must understand how you learn to know how to unlearn.
Okay, because when people say...
if you know how you learn, you will now know how to unlearn.
Like whether you're a visual learner, auditorial, stuff like that, right?
So me, I'm a very kinesthetic learner.
That means with your hands, action,
with my hands and also visual as well. A lot of times I can watch you do something and I'll do it. Most people are visual learners. Why is that? Because visual was the first for everyone. That is one way of learning that everyone has in them.
Yeah, because
why is that proven? As a baby, you learn through image. Because you don't yet understand words. So image is the most powerful thing on earth when it comes to learning. Now, of course, some people as they get older, they adapt to the audio in different ways. But visual will always be part of somebody's learning plate. So since you know visual is the way you learn, so visual is also a way you unlearn. How do I, okay.
Like you
if I want to learn something, normally what I'll do, I'll watch a lot of videos on it. I'll surround myself with people that's doing it. So a lot of times habits we have, we watch it a lot. A lot of habits we have, we hear it a lot. So one of the greatest things I did, I remember when I had my awakening. One of my first steps, I think at the time I had 5,000 Instagram followers. This was probably like 2012, 13. I went and people following me and me following them. There was so much things on my timeline. Like at that time, I didn't know like what I see, like it's getting inside of me. I wanted to be a faithful husband. I wanted to be rich. And I know being rich, you got to know how to, manage your money, multiply your money. Being a faithful husband, you got to be able, I was not married yet, but I wanted one day to be I cannot keep seeing adultery and one day don't think I might not fall into adultery.
When you say adultery, you mean like somebody in a bikini or something like that?
No, it's not adultery. Adultery is, let's say, other people. Like, let's say, I know you married, God forbid. And you're on Instagram, like, you're at the strip club. Like,
Got you.
Like, humans are not as complex as we seem. Like I told you, like, there's something called, like, the reason I don't like going on, because we can go deep into it. So your brain is basically made up of neural pathways.
Yeah.
Basically, your neural pathways is basically what's in charge of your habits. So each time you see something, your brain, let's say this is your brain. If you see somebody like fixing the engine of a car, the first time you see it, your brain make a small groove. A small groove on your brain.
I think that's
and
called...
as it's making that groove, your brain is putting together a new neural pathway.
Yeah.
So subconsciously or consciously, every time you see something, your brain is recording it. So that is why a lot of stuff we do subconsciously, because we're picking up a lot of stuff subconsciously. That is why if you have a group of friends, you surround yourself with them, they speak a certain way. People outside of your friends will be like, yo, y'all talk alike? But you'll be like, no, not really. Because you never remember trying to practice speaking like them, but you picked it up subconsciously. So we need to unlearn by removing certain things. Remove. When I wanted to really get into cooking, I started following a lot of cooking pages. I started talking to people so I wanted that to stay in front of me. So to say that any habit you're doing, any habit you're trying to get rid of, get rid of, see if you have anything that's in front of you that can change, that is making you do that thing. Then, when you see, and if you see them, delete them, unfollow them, like stop going to certain places. So that's the first to unlearn it.
Gotcha.
And then now start applying things to make you do that new thing. So for example, seatbelt is one. If you want, one of the things you can do for, let's say for example, seatbelt, write a sign that says, put it in your car, put your seatbelt on, like a sticky note right in front of your windshield. So every time you come, like you'll see it. That'll be the cue. So habits really have, it's a 3-stage process.
Do you believe, or do you think adding an incentive to do those things would help you develop better habits after you unlearn it? Because I learned in myself, like you speaking on seatbelt, it popped in. Like when I got the car that I got, before then I used to never wear my seatbelt. But to use a certain function in a car, you have to have your seatbelt on. But now, even if I don't use that function, I see myself inherently like just putting my seatbelt on. Now it's a habit because I've been using it because of that added incentive. How would somebody incorporate that in say if I'm like specifically talking about social media, because a lot of people deal with social media and they want to get off, and people cut off social media, but when they re-download it or reactivate their account,
right back to the
they go, how can somebody kind of unlearn something like that? Like use that as an example.
So the first step, like I told you, I talked on, you have to first unlearn the bad habit. Then when you unlearn, there's a great book called The Power of Habits. In The Power of Habits, it tells you like the cue, you need a cue like that calls you to do the thing. And then from the cue, you have the action, the routine, and then you have the reward. So reward is a strong incentive to continuously do that thing, even negative things. When we do things that we don't want to do, it's because we're getting some stimulation from it. So now you use that for the positive. So outside of unlearning, it's called the habit loop. Understanding the habit loop, cue, routine, reward, and then just set up a cue to get you to do the right thing, having that habit. And after you do that habit, have a reward for it. Have a celebratory reward. So for example, if, and especially with social media now, the apps help us. You can set up a 30-minute time frame for the day, an hour time frame, and then stop. Now you want to start off like that and then gradually move when you have control. And when you have control, I don't know, like put a goal, like, I'm going to go a week without going over this time. And if I do, I'm going to buy this for myself. So we have the unlearning, then we have the habit loop, which you guys can learn more with
The Power of Habits.
The Power of Habits. But then third, and I think this one probably second, because we spoke about the power habit first, but accountability is like, it's everything. Let me say that. Like, because a lot of times we know what to do, we just don't do it. Like, ask yourself this question. If you did every single thing you said you was going to do, where would you be?
Almost everybody had the same reaction. I would be Grant Cardone. Or,
everybody say you'd be way further than you are, right?
Yeah.
But you see, we were not created to hold ourselves accountable.
So
alone.
And speaking of accountability, I've seen people hate people who are accountable to them.
But there's a madness to the accountability.
Like
what? So now we spoke about the ways to do it. Unlearn.
Yeah.
Then figure out the habit and the habit loop. And then now the third important is accountability. But there's a lot of things we say we think is just doing it. So for example, I tell you, hey bro, I want to lose weight. And he's like, okay, bro, I'm gonna keep you accountable. Every day you're like, bro, you went to the gym? Yo, you eating good? That is a form of accountability, but it's accountability without thought.
What do you mean?
Because you're being accountability by following up and checking up, but the person who's being accountable have to be very strategic. We all cannot be held accountable the same.
Explain a little more. I'm not understanding.
When you're holding someone accountable,
yeah.
One, which we're not going to go too deep into it, there's different personalities.
Yeah.
We understand there's different personalities. And every personality do not operate the same.
Got you.
Different personalities will require different ways of accountability.
Okay.
Some people will want you to call them and text them and every day. Some people are more numbers. Like they're more attentive and they're more connected to numbers. So you have to find a number way of like, so so once a week, the goal is to lose 5 pounds a week. Like, you structure it in a way. Some people are more timid. Some people are more aggressive. Some people, so all that has to be calculated because there are some people you can't come to them like, hey bro, you did what you need to do? Yeah, I did it. And that's it. You come to me like that, you're not getting nothing from me. I'm the type, you gotta be like, yo, bro, get it together, man. Like, yo, stop playing.
I'm the same way.
Like, yo, like, no, for real, bro, stop. Now, you see how I just switched up?
Yeah.
Like, that's, for you to get to me, you gotta get like this.
Yeah.
But some people, if you come to that, you crush them. Like, they'll be like, yo, bro, like, whatever, bro. I'll do it when I want to do it. So accountability, you have to know yourself to get accountability.
Got you.
Because a lot of times we have accountability, but it's not effective accountability.
Yeah, many times they say do this, but then it doesn't really resonate with them.
Everyone have a way to get them to do something. Everyone. The laziest person you see, if you study them well enough and you study people well enough, you could get that person to be the most productive person. That is why a lot of corporations pay scientists, speakers to come in and motivate and get their people to operate at another level. Because we as humans, God created us not only to depend on Him, but also to depend on one another.
Yeah.
Because if we could do everything by ourselves, we wouldn't need nobody else. So even the things we set out to do, we need, of course, interior motivation, but we also need exterior motivation and accountability. So we need interior accountability, where you hold yourself accountable to a certain degree. Then we need exterior accountability, where people hold you to a certain degree. And then when those people hold you to a certain degree, they need to know how. And even yourself, you need to know how you move.
That's a third.
A lot of times we don't take the time to see like, yo, how do Hernal get motivated? Me, I know how I get motivated. You want to motivate me? Like, man, like, I just know I know how to get myself motivated because I don't want to even get into it.
Give me some examples because I think I can say stuff for myself.
I know based on the person, I would know how to get them motivated.
Gotcha.
Like with me, there's many things. If somebody want to keep me accountable and like get me to do things, definitely like I gave you one. I respect more of the stern approach, not the hey bro, you did it today. That don't work with me. Me, I respect myself to a high degree. So if you come at me like, yo, bro,
you playing. You
don't even take life serious. It makes me like, yo, this guy think I'm a joke.
I'm the same way.
It makes me tighten up.
Yeah, it makes you really self-reflect and get into how did he?
Tripping.
Why did he change his energy for me? He's usually this type of person,
bro. Like, and I'm not gonna lie too. People may think it's a bad thing, but hey, keep thinking it's a bad thing. But I'm not gonna lie. Money motivates me. Money motivates me. Influence motivates me.
What do you mean influence?
Influence, I know if I do what I need to do, I will become a better person. And in becoming a better person, as you become a better person, more people will gravitate towards you.
Gotcha.
So the fact that influence is a thing that motivates me is like, so finding a way that's like, yo, like using that. And also money as well. Money motivates me because without money, you can't really do much on earth. So it motivates me, like, especially now I'm married. Like, yo, I gotta support my. If anything, forget about me, my wife.
Yeah.
So now it's like, yo, those things kind of motivate me. Like, I'm not gonna lie, and I think some people can relate. You've never been motivated more when you down and out. Like when you're at your lowest.
Yeah.
Like, bro, it's something about being at your lowest, especially financially. Dog, because people treat you different.
Yeah.
Dog,
because you even carry yourself different.
Dog, you look at yourself different, and people feel like make you feel like, you broke, man. Like, bro, they make you feel it.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna lie, that just motivates me. But now you got that same motivation when you're not broke no more. You gotta be able to like, yo, that hunger gotta remain. But now how that hunger remain is remembering, yo.
He was over here trying to split a pack of noodles.
Dog, you gotta understand how people try, like, yo, like, you know, some people, they don't wanna, you ever, like, you know, I don't listen to rap, but I keep up to date with society. Like, I keep myself aware and stuff like that. I was listening to Lil Baby, man. Like, he was like, yo, bro, like, dog, I'm gonna keep grinding. Like, I ain't stopping. Like he said, yo, I'm not stopping. He said, yo, I'm working till I'm 65. And I'm like, what? You a rapper? Like, you got millions? He's like, nah, I gotta keep working. He came from poverty.
Yeah.
Like, when you come from poverty, I ain't gonna lie to you, money can make you very comfortable. And once you get comfortable, yo, they said that is the kryptonite of success, comfort. That is why you have more poor people becoming successful than children of successful people becoming more successful. Because the children of successful people, they're already comfortable. But poor people, they're not comfortable, so they grind to that success.
Yeah.
But when you're successful, you need to find that thing that's like, yo, bro, like me, I remember eating frozen mac chickens. That's my personal testimony. My dad used to buy about 20 mac chickens, freeze them in the freezer. In the morning, we put them in the microwave. If you ever had that experience with the mayo, when you microwave mayo, it don't taste like mayo. So me thinking about that in a two-bedroom apartment with 7 of us sharing bunk beds, like the kitchen right next to the living room where there's no space. The living room smell like the kitchen. Clothes everywhere, baskets everywhere because there's no space. Brother, I don't want to, like, I'm with my wife now, you know, ever since I've been back, that's all I've been thinking about. I'm like, yo, I'm not going back to that. That's why you see, like, I'm here even at the studio trying to find out, yo, how do we invest? What more can I do? What other stream of income can I add? Because that's it.
And I feel like one of the things that causes people to get comfortable is because they split their attention too much. Like we were talking about social media, where you could be grinding. You've done what you did or what you needed to do to become successful, but now you are basking in distractions, video games, this, that, and the third. And
Thank you.
Appreciate that. You're basking in this, that, and the third. And because your attention is split in that sense, where now you're not really focused on that thing in the past that was keeping you motivated. You're pretty much focused on it now, but because it's something that's controlling your mind and you're seeing all these things that you're not supposed to be seeing, it causes you to fall into that. Because I've seen that within myself, where I was in a state where I was grinding, I was doing this, I was doing that. I started seeing my attention getting split with other things, and I'm like, yo, I need to create these boundaries. And I learned that 2-3 weeks ago, like setting boundaries, writing it down, so I'm not splitting my attention. So now when I have these boundaries, I remember, because I wrote it down, whenever I pick it up, it's like, okay, you wrote this boundary for yourself, put it down. And I have these thoughts constantly. But I feel like people fall into that because they bask into that into distractions, bro.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Honestly, in this world we in, America is a land where you could make your dream into reality. But the only caveat with that is like the distractions. Like, there's so many distractions here, man. Like, I ain't gonna lie, I just came from Bali last week, and it's like, everywhere's starting to kind of be like modernized and stuff like that, but they still have that like, like everybody's selling something, everybody grinding.
Yeah.
To the point I'm like, I ask a lot of them, yo, y'all don't want to come to the US? They're like, nah, man, we hustling here. They didn't use the word hustle, but it was like, yo, we doing what we got to do. So an enemy of success as well is lack of focus. Like, find a man who is focused, he eventually will accomplish his goal. The Bible says, find a man who is diligent in what he does, he'll stand before kings and not mean men. And for you to be diligent in what you do, it requires a certain level of focus. Now, I was always taught to have an extreme level of focus will require some unbalance.
What do you mean?
Because, okay, if you're super focused on, like, let's say your business, you'll be a little bit imbalanced, let's just say in your health or in just different areas, because I'm big on being well-rounded. And then I used to always like, man, some of my mentors would be like, man, that's good, you want to be a well-rounded individual, but I understand when you're hyper-focused, sometimes it do cause imbalance. You just got to know when to recalibrate. But going back to focus, like, focus is essential. Because a lot of times, the things we set out to do, it's not that they're hard. And it's not that they're impossible. But they require a certain level of focus. But because with everything in this world, we got family that could be a distraction. So we're not just talking about social media. We have family. We have jobs. We have all type of people outside of family. Then we have TV. We have social media. There's so much things that can be a distraction. And all distractions don't look bad. Some distractions look very good.
So with everything that you do, you're a newly married man, you have to provide for your wife. She's around all the time. You have your business. You have your family. You have the people you're connected to. You have your circles. How do you stay focused and you stay diligent when you or be well-rounded as you are, but still cater to all these things, or still manage yourself well, where you're pushing as hard as you can to get to your goal at the rate that you want it to be?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's like, and the answer to that is first, prioritize. You have to know how to prioritize what comes first. And with prioritizing, you must have a schedule. You must plan. like they said, if you don't plan your day, like.
But how about for those days where you kind of just have to go with the flow because things aren't happening the way they are? Like,
if it's a day that you have to go with the flow, then as you go with the flow, remember your priorities don't change. So I think it's it's the book Seven Habits of Highly Effective People. That's one of my favorite books. And I think one of the habits is keep the first thing first. And it's, oh man, that principle, keep the first thing first. Let me tell you why that's so important. Some people get a job to provide for their family, but that same job make them lose their family. They didn't keep the first thing first. The reason you got that job was for your family, right? So that job should never take the place of your family. But a lot of times, we switch roles. It says keep the first thing first. Like, keep your priorities in order.
Like if it's God, family, business.
Yes, if it's God, family, business, keep that in order. In the day, if your wife call you like, hey, I need you home, it's an emergency, I need you to do this, but then you also, I don't know.
You have a business opportunity where you can make this much.
Somebody want to talk. The wife is first. Like, you have to, that's why I said prioritize first and then plan. Because if you don't know your priorities, you won't know how to plan. You got to know what matters to you.
So just sit down, create your priorities first.
Yes.
And then you really create your schedule.
There's a strategy. I'm going to look at it on my phone because we've been talking about a lot. I'll leave you with this last gem. I don't know if you haven't.
That was good.
This is what I use.
As far as your schedule?
Yes. Hold on.
No worries.
Can't believe it. I always forget it. But this is what a lot of like the Elon Musk and different people use.
So is it like a specific app? Is it like a structure or way of doing it?
Hold on. There you go. Okay. So it's called the
Time blocking?
Eisenhower matrix.
Eisenhower matrix?
Eisenhower.
Okay, yeah. As far as important and urgent, not urgent. Yes, the 4 quadrants. Okay.
Yeah. So the Eisenhower matrix is what it really works when it comes to like planning out like what to do, when to do it, because there's a lot of things we want to do, but they're not urgent and they're not important. So the urgent is the first things you do. Then after the urgent is the important. And after you're done with the urgent and important, then you do like the other stuff. So having that mindset when planning is definitely important because there's so much to do, man. Like today, man, just coming back from like there's so much stuff I could be doing today. But it's like, what's important, what's urgent, you get those things done first. But definitely focus is definitely in America, in American culture. No matter what goal you set out, if you can focus, because bro, we have alcohol, we have drugs, we have women, forget about, people just be thinking distraction is social media. To me, social media is not a distraction.
Why you say that?
Because I made social media a school for me. You know what I did?
You followed them.
I follow just straight learning stuff. I barely follow people. And if I follow you, there's a reason. Because when I'm on my timeline, every time I'm on my timeline, I learn something different. So I don't think,
That's fire.
For me, social media is not a distraction. It's actually it's helped me learn most of the stuff I know. Believe it or not. And it's making me money.
That's fire.
So
that's fire.
The distractions are the women for a man, and for a woman, it'll be men. That's like the number one. The opposite sex is the major distraction. Because one of men's biggest motivation is the opposite sex. Like men wants women, women wants men. And then of course, like money, drugs, there's a lot of distractions. And especially down here, they're coming up with all these parties, clubs, events. Bro. So I know we talked about a lot of great things, but I'll tell you, if you could lock in, man, you could probably do anything.
So I want to ask you these two things as my last questions. What, with everything that you said that you're a part of, you do, what does success look like for you?
That's a good question. For me, success, I believe, is different for everyone. Because financial success is different for everyone. Social success is different for everyone.
So you classify success in your terms?
Success, I think, is a mixture of different aspects of life. Now, someone can be very successful financially, but socially, like, they're not a success. I look at life from a global perspective, like my health, money, family, friends, and my spirituality, how well am I grounded, and things like that. So saying all that is like, success for me, like I said, is doing well. Like, I don't have to have the most and everything, but success for me is being able to provide for myself and my loved ones, and also being connected spiritually to God, having a foundation connected to God, being able to provide for my friends, for my family and loved ones, and also being in good health. If I'm in good health, optimal health, I'm not talking about like, I don't have a headache or nothing, because there's some people walking around like their bodies are hurting. No, my body's fine. I could run a mile or two. No bones hurting. I'm in good health. I can financially take care of myself with my family. Now, like I said, it's not, let's say like we're driving $1 million cars. When I say like the basic needs are taken care of, we have a place to live. We have food on our plates. Like, the basic needs are covered. That's success to me. Just peace. In general, peace. Because if you have your basic needs, you're in good health, and you have a good social group, like friends and family, everybody's on good terms, you'll be at peace. Now, would you want more? Of course. We're actually designed, the human being is designed to want more, but that's another conversation. But as long as those things are there, I think I'm good.
I like that.
I think that's success for me.
Now, my last question would be this. You mentioned things about character, how to unlearn habits and create new habits after that, in that order. If you were to give one advice to somebody, because wisdom is timeless, you can learn from somebody younger than you can learn from somebody older than you. Many times I heard people learning from the kids, but what would be that one thing that you can share? Like, if you can exclude the things that you mentioned today, what would be that one thing that you would want to make sure somebody has, somebody knows, somebody embodies, or it resonates within them, within their life?
I quote the Bible. I'll say, if it's that one thing, it says, get wisdom, and if all things, get understanding.
What is understanding?
That's a good question, because a lot of people don't really understand what is wisdom, don't understand what is understanding. So there's wisdom, so there's knowledge. There's knowledge, there's wisdom, there's intelligence, there's understanding.
You said knowledge, wisdom, intelligence, and understanding.
It's 4.
Yeah, 4. Knowledge, wisdom, understanding,
And intelligence.
Yeah.
Okay. To be quick with this, intelligence is the ability to learn.
Got you.
So that means do you learn fast? Do you learn slow? Knowledge is information you've learned. So it's stored up. Things you know. Wisdom is the ability to apply what you know. So you have the knowledge, but now you execute the knowledge. Because some people have knowledge, but they don't have wisdom. They could know something, but they don't know how to execute it. Understanding is not only that you have the knowledge, you have the wisdom, but you know the know-how.
What do you mean the know-how?
So
I like that the way you put it. I like that.
So, okay, I don't know. Let me give you, there's millions of examples I can give you this one. There's a lot of people, they know how to do something, right? Maybe because like they picked it up subconsciously. And so they have the knowledge of it, right? They have the knowledge because they're doing it. They have the knowledge, and then they're doing it, so that means they have the wisdom of it. But for some reason, they can't explain it. And that is why, another reason why rich people, they tell you like the wealth is lost by like the second, third generation. Because a lot of times there are certain people, and I'm experiencing that because I'm a business consultant. There's a lot of clients I have, they have a successful business, but they can't tell you how they built that business.
So it's like they can do it, but subconsciously, like it's second nature in a way.
Understanding is not only you have the knowledge and you're able to do it, but you can break it down. You clearly understand.
Oh, so got you. You're able to do it and then hey, break it down.
This is how you do it step by step by step, and you have the understanding.
Like to teach in a way.
That's why the Bible says, get wisdom, but out of everything, get understanding. Because when you have understanding, you have everything.
I like that.
Because somebody could have the wisdom, like all my life, if I was raised a certain way, I do the habits, I picked up habits, I'm just doing them. But I really can't explain. I just do it a certain way.
Yeah.
But that means it'd probably be hard for me to pass it down to the next person because I can't really explain it. But the person who has the understanding, not only they know it for themselves, but they could pass it down. That's why certain people will tell you, if you take my, especially financially, take everything away today, I can build it right back up.
So that's like somebody giving the recipe, but without the directions on how to cook it.
There you go.
They give them the instructions, and even if they give the directions, it's start the stove, place it, and cook.
That is a perfect example for that one. I'm going to keep that. Cooking is a perfect example. There are some, my mom, I consider my mom to be a phenomenal chef. My mom did not learn cooking from a book. She learned cooking by watching her mom and her grandma and things like that. So now my mom's food is good.
I'm a testament to that too.
And my mom cannot really, she'll tell you a little bit, but my mom wouldn't be the one to really tell you how to cook. You would just have to watch her and pick it up. Because she just knows what to do.
Yeah.
She just knows
because she's seen it so much. She been in that visual area
for so long.
You
can know what to do, but don't have an understanding why you do what you do. You just know what to do, but you don't have the understanding. I hope I did a good job of breaking those down. Yeah, because those are 4 things. They're similar, but they're not the same. They're not the same.
I appreciate this, Hernan. I'm not gonna lie. You gave me a lot of things that I hope I can apply to myself, and the people watching this can apply to themselves.
I like the watch. I mean, not the watch, but the chain. That thing is nice.
I appreciate that. So, I just want to say, like, I really do appreciate you, man.
I appreciate you too, man. Thank you for having me on this podcast. I seen the beginning, man, and I see the focus is there. You're not stopping. Yeah. Hurdles have came, and that's what everything in life. Life want to test do you deserve. Like, life is a thing, it want to see, do you deserve? Like, you have an idea today, you started, everybody just think it's gonna just come to fruition. No. Life have to test you to see like, yo, do you deserve the things that you ask for?
And
so that's why these roadblocks gonna come.
Yeah.
Times that you're not gonna feel like doing it gonna come, but that's tests.
It's been there, but where I just got to get up and do it. And when I did it, I thank God for giving me the energy or the focus to just get up and do it, even though I didn't do it. Because at the end of the day, in those moments when it happened, I was just praying like, God, get me out of this, get me out of this. Let me just get it. Let me just do it. Let me wake up early. Let me wake up at this time, even though I'm tired, even though I'm this. Yep. Just get through the day, even though I don't do everything. And I want to tell everybody, even though I don't do everything, as long as I'm getting like 1% better every day, man. 1% better every day. Like, and then eventually I'm going to reach past that learning curve, whether it's the learning curve or the bell curve, however you, for lack of understanding the term or to say it. But once I get past this, once I really understand and prioritize and do these things, and bro, I know it's going to get to the next level.
Last thing I'll mention is like, read the 80-20 book, man, or the 80-20 principle.
Yeah.
Majority of things we do, it only really take 20% effort.
If I'm being honest with you saying that, like I've learned to just simplify things. Like I used to
effort.
I used to load my day with to-dos and like major minor like a lot of minor tasks, but then I realized, like, granted, for the average person, the things I put on my list is a lot because I want to work towards advancing myself in a certain way, and that 20% versus, or that little to get the biggest result might be a lot for the average person. Yeah, but at the end of the day, my day now feels so simple. And sometimes it might feel like I'm not doing it.
Not doing anything.
Bro, some of these days, it's like...
But it's more effective than the days that you bunch up a lot of stuff.
And it's meant to, and my mind is more at peace, bro.
I had to relax on that because I was used to doing so much.
I thought I was the only one, bro.
Because I was taught to only do 3 important things a day.
Yeah.
And try to do them by noon. And
it depending how early
I was like, wait, my day. Like, so you telling me after the rest of the day I'm like done? Like,
and sometimes that can for me, like when I first fell into that's when I started to get into distractions. Yeah. So what I learned is that those 3 things, but like how you...
That doesn't mean the day's ended. You just make sure you do those 3 things.
Of course, and granted, I could do more, but of course, if you do too much work in a day, there's another form of burning out too. Yeah. So with even what you said with how you categorize success, I categorize it in that way. Like in the beginning of the day, I only focused on these pillars, and at the end of the day, if I really do a majority, I focus on the rest. And if I actually do those, then it's like that day I can just pick and choose which one of the pillars do I need to focus on, which is the next thing that I can get a head start on the next day. Yeah. Even though it's tough because I'm getting past it because I understand, I fell into distractions, I set the boundaries to get out, I learned that, and I'm really just getting to the point where I find that consistency so I can do all these things. So it's like literally just once you just it stems from just receiving knowledge to turn it into wisdom. As long as you know what to do, you receive the knowledge, there's going to be those trials and tribulation that's going to feel like it knocks you off and you can't accomplish it. But once you learn and understand yourself, which is part of, the things that we talked about on the podcast today, like you find yourself and you find that you can live in it. Well. So I appreciate you.
This is good, man. Thank you so much. Like I said, once again. And man.
And at the end
much success and abundance to you, my brother.
Same for you, man.
Keep going. And I see everybody at the top, and I ain't talking about down here. I'm talking about in heaven, man. Amen. I see everybody at the mountaintop. Mm-hmm. Well, actually here too, like big yachts and all that stuff.
Man, I'm gonna just end it, man.
I want that for everyone.
At the end of the day, man, my name is Olivier J. Darcisse. I'm here with my mentor. He's like a big brother to me. I can go down the list and name titles, whatever you name it, but we're here. I'm with my guy Hurdle. We're here helping you to do life well. Peace. Wait, before you go, make sure you hit the subscribe button and check out the video that you think is the best for you. Or is it check out the video and hit the subscribe button? Man, you know what I'm trying to do. Peace.